calling the name of Karnak temples because that's a temple, by the way. It's to be built in the middle of the small village, and that village which had the same name till nowadays, and meaning protected village, right? And that is Karnak Temple, which had a size like about 64 acres. So because of that, to be considered one of the largest temple in the world, one of the biggest temple in the world, which has no equal, by the way, because it's included inside a lot of temples, like the temple of the king Ramses III, and the temple for the god Amun-Ra, for his wife the goddess Mut, for his son the god Khonsu. The temple were built by a lot of kings and were dedicated for the important three goddesses, like what I have told you before. And that is place, this is the separate map or the separate maquette representing the description for the temple here. So that is temple including all of the history of Egypt from pre-dynastic period to the Ptolemaic periods. So here you can see that the road of Rams. That is the road of Rams, which take the shape of the ships and the body of the lion, right? That way. The first gate here, the second gate, until to arrive to the sacred lake. So when we sacred lake.
Okay.
Yes. So when we go inside, by the way, I'm telling you why the ancient Egyptian they were calling with sacred lake till nowadays.
Over here you are seeing a replica of a boat that was used between Karnak Temple and the Luxor Temple by the ancient Egyptians, and that's how but this is not the original one. Original one used to be of gold. This is just a replica made of fiber. Same over here. Just imagine a boat made of gold. A boat made of gold. So now we have entered into the premises of the Karnak Temple. It's a massive temple. So from Luxor Temple to Karnak Temple, if you have a cab or a bus, it takes usually 10 to 20 minutes to drive by. That's all. We prefer coming earlier in the morning to avoid the heat. So if you're planning Egypt, make sure that you're not doing anything in the heat summer's time, because summers are killing over here. Insane. Here you can see the beautiful view of Karnak Temple. In front there's an entry.
Are staying in front of the main entrance of the temple, like the first pylon here. But here exactly, by the way, during the time of the different feast, the god Amun-Ra was moving from here, from Karnak, by his sacred boat to the river Nile. He's going around, okay, to visit his wife in the second place. But because this temple, it was covering with a lot of water, like the season of inundations, before they built the high dam, which was located in Aswan city in 1965, by the way. So the covering water here, it's coming to here, but during that time, the god Amun-Ra was using that area as a harbor. Did you know the harbor? Like the main entrance of the boat, like the ship, okay? And here you can see, by the way, the road of Rams. This is the road of Rams. It was taken the second shape of the god Amun-Ra, like the shape of the sheeps and the body of the lion.
The ram.
Okay?
The body of a sheep. Ram.
The ram, like a sheep's.
Yeah.
Because the god Amun-Ra was taking the two shapes during his life.
Okay.
The first shape like the human being, like the sphinx and the body of the lion, and the second shape like the sheep's and the body of the lion.
Oh.
These are the two different shapes.
Okay.
Okay, one of them it's contact between the two temples together, like 3 kilometers from here to there, as you have seen it before,
Yeah.
and the other one only just on the main entrance of the temple here. Okay, but you can see that first pylon. So that area, it was built by the king Karnak Temple. He was the last king of the 30 dynasty. 30 dynasty, Karnak Temple. And that is place which having two towers. The one to the right hand side, the one to the left hand side. But if you look exactly for the second tower, you can see unfinished tower.
Correct.
Why? Because the king Karnak Temple before he's completely the second tower he was died. Okay, or he was died. So because of that, the temple that's be finished from his construction from the 30 dynasty by the king Karnak Temple. Okay, so it's behind the back of these columns. I will show you some mud brick ramp, and this is mud brick. The ancient Egyptian, they were used this is mud brick as a staircases to go upstairs to build their pillars, and then they come back again like the ancient Egyptian time, right?
So King Akhtum in 18th dynasty tried building these temples with the walls. You can see over here the first layer and the second layer. Over on this wall, the second layer was completed, and by the time this wall was built and about to complete, the King Akhtum died, and hence, if you see, this tower on the left hand side is incomplete.
So that is the head of the ram, okay, included the ships and the body of the lion, as I told you before. But under the chain for each one of them, you can see the little bit statue. So that little bit statue for the King Ramses II as well. That's meaning, or that's representing when the god Amun was protecting the King Ramses II from anything was dangerous. Okay, and that's the way extending of rams, extending from inside to outside.
So if someone wants to come walking all the way from Luxor Temple to Karnak Temple, can they come?
Yes, can they come exactly, but not from this way, from the road of the Sphinx.
The road of the Sphinx.
Yes, but this is way it was covering with a lot of water.
Water.
Yes.
So where is the road of the Sphinx? That side.
Yes. So actually, that is place.
So below each ram you can see Ramesses II statue built with the protection from the evil. Check out. How big this temple was. And just imagine the time when this temple was completely in good condition. Touching the stone of Karnak Temple, that's way beyond 3,000 plus years.
This is the new one.
This is the new one.
This is the old one in the upstairs.
So the one which you see above is the old one.
What are the other guys? Nice.
It's a new one. It's a new one, no?
And the old one is up. And this is the new construction.
So actually, here exactly, you can see the first open courtyard inside Karnak temples, and the most famous king who was built it, a lot of majority here, the King Shashanka, who was built it, the 22nd dynasty from the history of Egypt. And you can see the hall of Taharqa. The hall of Taharqa that's having some columns here. So that columns, they call it as a hall of Taharqa. Taharqa, this is important king of the 26th dynasty from the history of Egypt. But here, if you remember very well, you can see the chapels, like a rooms. And that rooms which we have seen it before. Those rooms, they were built by the king Seti first. And we know the king Seti first, he was a father for the king Ramses II. Okay? And the one in the middle, by the way, specializes for the god Amun, and his wife, the goddess Mut, and his son, the god Ra. Okay? But nowadays, they make a restoration inside that halls or that chapels. So because of that, it's cannot allow to go inside to explain anything. But it's behind the back here, you can see the mud brick. That is mud brick, the original one. So the ancient Egyptian, by the way, they were using this as mud brick, okay, as a staircases to go upstairs to build their pylons, and then they come back again. Then this is the original one from time of ancient Egyptian, and you can see the enclosure wall. That is enclosure wall which was surrounded the mud brick from outside. This is the new one, okay, not the original one. But you can see actually the road of Rams, that's be found from outside to inside. That's be extending, by the way. Sorry? Extending from outside to inside to make a protections. The one to the right hand side, as you've seen, and one to the left hand side, exactly. Okay.
Protection.
And for the protection. There's a special temple, guys, for the King Ramses III. But when we talk about the King Ramses III, we have to remember very well the 19th dynasty from the history of Egypt, because the King Ramses III, he was the son of the King Ramses II.
Second.
Okay? And if you look exactly, you can see some statues, by the way.
Right.
So that's statues.
Yes.
So this is the statues, they are standing for like this. They, the left leg in front of him. Why? Because this is king, he was a warrior king.
Okay.
But he tried to make himself, preparing himself for the military battle after that. And you can see some figures, by the way, representing that figures. The King Ramses III, he tried to slaughter his enemies in front of different gods like the god Amun. But inside that places, okay, there are some statues. They are standing, all of them, they representing for the King Ramses III inside that places. But unfortunately, most of them, they are damaged by the earthquakes. And they are standing for like this, like the gods Osiris. But we know the god Osiris, the god of paradise for the ancient Egyptians. And he tried to hold in his hand the two signs, like the scepter and the crook. Both of them, they refers for the strengths, for the gods Osiris, because he was a strange man, right?
What was this brick story? What is the story of this bricks? Old bricks and the new bricks?
Which one?
Yeah. The bricks, the wall, the
Only just you mean the ram, right?
no, not ram, the bricks.
The
mud brick?
The mud brick, exactly the story for the mud brick. So the ancient Egyptian, they were used, this is mud brick, as a staircases to go up, to build their pylons for the blocks of stones, to try to pushing the pylon and the blocks of stones, and then they come back again. So they have took a lot of years to have to make it something like that. So how many years they take it? Exactly about 2,500 years to have to build all the temple. Because that is temple, it was built from inside to outside, not from outside to inside. That is here, the second pylon, starting from this way to inside. But the second pylon, that's meaning the front gate, as I told you before. And you can see some statues. That is the statues. One of them is still standing till nowadays. So the other one, they make a covering for the other one by the Ministry of the Monument, because they would like to make a restorations. But if you look to this statue, by the way, you can see the huge statue. And what is the huge statue? That's representing for the King Ramses II, and between his legs, one of his wife, the Queen Nefertari. Here's the black line. So when the temple, they covering with some water from the bottom to the top here at the time of 1887. And this is Arabic word like fayadan.
1887. Water level at the Black Land.
Okay, fayadan, that's meaning that. So the black line here, okay.
Paidan.
So how many columns they were erected here? They were built here, about 134 columns.
Oh.
So the King Ramses II is built at about 122 columns. And the king who came after him, Amun III, he has built it 12 columns. So exactly if you collect it together, 122 plus 12, that's be equal 134 columns. But, 134. And you can see the top for each one of them. They take the shape of opening papyrus flowers, and actually you can see some bright colors, and that is bright colors from time of ancient Egyptians.
You can see this pillar was built by Ramesses II not the entire structure like 124, and the remaining, a total of 134, and the remaining 12, 13 will build the king after him. And all the pillars have a shape of papyrus onto the top. Now we see two obelisks over here, one over here and the other side.
Okay, that is here, by the way. You can see that obelisk, and that obelisk, at the beginning, it was belongs to the Queen of Hatshepsut.
Okay.
But when the King Tutmosis III he tried to take the throne of Egypt, he had damaged everything. So the Queen of Hatshepsut built it because he hated her very, very much. But you can imagine what is the relationship between Hatshepsut and the King Tutmosis III. She was the wife of her father, and she was his aunt. Why? Because she's married from her brother to take the throne of Egypt. Okay? And that is the stone, that is the obelisk as one stone, which transported from what? From the big warriors in Aswan city by the sacred boat.
So these two top obelisks was transferred by Nefertari from Aswan, where we saw the incomplete obelisk lying over there still, because it got damaged. So hence, the only two were transferred and erected over here. Karnak Temple is bigger comparatively to Luxor one.
For the lady.
So the obelisk which you see over here is obelisk that was by Queen Nefertari, and you can see she's offering to a god, Amora, over here. And this tower during the time of earthquake was completely destroyed, and it was fallen down over here into this courtyard, where you can see a restoration work. Archaeological survey did try to complete the restoration work. That's how we can see over here. And exactly behind this obelisk, you can see a scarab where you have a belief in Egypt. If you have anything in your mind, a wish, you take a circle, a 3 circle, round it, and that's completed. And to my left hand side is the sacred lake, which they used to believe if you have any kind of disease, it could be cured if you take a bath in this lake. So a queen used to travel in the into the sacred lake in her sacred boat from a sacred channel, which is now gone completely. Almost like 3,000 square meters, about this size of this pond, lake. Now we are at the one side of the temple where you can see the ruins with the old bricks, the walls, and again a temple. So everywhere you go there is a temple. And again over here you can see a statue of Ramesses, the same way he's standing where we saw it in the open museum in Memphis, and that's completely damaged. The statue is completely damaged and it's cannot be restored, or I don't know where or how far it's gone due to the earthquake. Over here you can see this area is completely restricted for the tourists because excavation work is going on, and you can see laborers working, and tents have been built where they are doing some kind of research and finding more artifacts from the ruins. And here you can see all small ruins that has been damaged due to the earthquake. And over here you can see the Ramesses with the cobra on his head. 1, 2, 3, 4 Ramesses statue that has been damaged due to earthquake. Massive.
Нефса. Рамзес и соседняя граница с Египетом, внутри этой границы нашли 120 стран.
Imagine a pillar that is so huge. On the few walls you can still see the color intact, yellow, blue, red, with the papyrus flower onto the top. Once in a lifetime, this is the history that you must come and watch.
Поэтому фараоны Люксор решили, что больше не надо строить пирамиды, не надо замучить народ, не надо тратить время. Если это можно,
Again over here you can see, due to earthquakes, all the statues, how the statues have been damaged and cannot be, there are a few things that cannot be restored. Some pieces are lying in the museum. Again we are entering into some chamber that has to be a sacred. Again over here you can see columns that were restored by Alexander the Great to restore the ceiling, because if you see there are two different colors onto the ceilings, which all the inscription over here with Ramesses offering a pipe. He's smoking a pipe with multi flavors on it. This room is completely dark. I have no clue if you are able to see it. I'm filming it in a night mode to see if you can have a look at it. Over here you have a small vent for light. Now imagine 3,000 years back how they used to carve over here big paintings into the dark. So what exactly do you see on the roof right now is the same structure across the whole temple that got damaged due to the earthquake. Now this temple is way back 3,000 years old. And this temple is way back 3,000 years old where you can see all different kind of carvings scratched. If you see, all the carvings have been scratched due to some reasons, maybe of shifting or maybe by the army of the Alexander or someone. Here again we have one more temple, one more room, and here you have stairs that goes up to the temple top but has been locked for tourists. So that's the beauty of Karnak Temple, where you can again see bulls and nut restored to make sure that the ceiling doesn't fall. Again you will see the Nubis, the falcon god. All chambers, all rooms were dedicated for some kind of rituals, prayers, or to some god. Here you can see the broken pieces of statues. You try to enter one door, you come out of another door. Now we are at the backside of the temple, I guess. And this temple was built from inside out. Well, here again you can see Ramesses in the charging mode. Now this is completely restored, I guess, because you can see over here, that's the original pot and this is the reconstructed. So this is completely restored because you can see the angles have been made to provide support. Now just think that if there would have been no earthquakes, this temple would have looked so beautiful. So the temple which you saw right now was Temple of Ramesses III from inside, and Ramesses III standing charging into the actions. Now here you can see the ram with the god and having Ramesses holding the key of life. Rooms, chambers, walls. There's so many chambers, so many rooms.